morning, grade 3. How are you? So I came back to you, okay, to study a new subject. Please open your grammar books and move to page 56. You see, it's page 56. We have this subject, which is the last part about there was and there were, or about past time. So when we finish this subject, I mean that we finished unit 11 on the grammar book. So we will go back to the class book and workbook as well. So here we have this subject. We have past time expressions. Okay, past time expression. Actually, with present and future time, we can use time expressions. But today we are going to study about those expression that you can use them in past time or in the past event or some action that happened in the past time, okay, before now. And here we have these expressions that you have to use them during past time, and they are common, okay. So now let me read this for you, then I'm going to explain for you. We use last, yesterday, and on to talk about specific time in the past. We use last, yesterday, and on. It means these three expressions to talk about specific time in the past. Okay? Use last with nouns, but we can't use last alone, so you have to use it with another noun, like last week. Week, it's a noun. Okay, so last week it will be هفته رابردو. Last month, month also is a noun. So last month it will be مانگی رابردو. Year, last year, because year it's a noun, so we used last with a noun. So last year, سالی پر یا سالی رابردو. Last March, okay, وقتا مانگی سی رابردو, because March it's one of the months, January, February, March. Okay, so last March, March رابردو. Last Friday, Friday it's also a noun and it's one of the days of the week, which is with last, it will be last Friday, and it means جمعه ياخد هيني رابردو. Last night, it means شبي رابردو. Night also it's a noun. So for example, there was a pencil on the book last week or last month. Okay, I played football with my dad last year. Okay, then use yesterday on its own. What does it mean that? Use yesterday on its own. It means you can use yesterday alone. Okay, alone, without any noun. For example, yesterday I cooked a fish. Yesterday I studied in English, or I studied in English yesterday. Okay, yesterday. And also you can use with other nouns like last. Do you remember? We talked about last week, last month. So also yesterday, you can use it with another noun like yesterday morning. Morning is a noun. So yesterday morning, دواني باني. Yesterday afternoon, دواني نيورو. دواني دواني وروكي. Yesterday evening, وعتا دواني اواركي. Let me tell you very important note. We have two important notes. You have to get them. First, you can't, never ever, you can't say the last Friday, the last night, or the last March, or the. It means that, okay, it's necessary to put that before last, the last year. It will be wrong if you say in this way. And also yesterday, we can say yesterday morning, yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening, but never ever, we can't say yesterday night. We should say last night. دوينه show. Last night, it means شوي رابرتو, previous night, okay? And yesterday, it means the day before today, or a day before today, previous time. We talked about past. So yesterday, it means the day before today. Yesterday afternoon and yesterday evening, to tell or to add more detail when you talk about something that happened in past time or an event that happened in past time, right? So we can say, let me repeat that, we can say the last night, and also we can't say yesterday night. So we should say last night instead of saying yesterday night. Okay, that's very important. Now here we have this example. Also use on with a day of the week. We talked about how can you use on, in, at, these three prepositions. Okay, with days of week you have to use on. With months you should use in, and with time or clock you have to use at, right? So here we used on because we have one of the days of the week, which is Friday. So you have to say on Friday, on Monday, on Sunday, on Thursday, on Tuesday. Here, this example says, on Friday, I stayed with Sophie. You can change it. On Friday, I played basketball. On Thursday, I washed the dish. Okay? And let me tell you one more information which is very important. How can we use this past time expression during writing? Okay, during writing. Okay, how? If you decided to put the time expression at the beginning of a sentence, you have to put a comma after it. I'll repeat it. If you want to put the time expression at the beginning, you must put a comma after it. But like this example, on Friday, you see, because we used on Friday at the beginning, so we put it a comma. But if we change the position, if we say, I stayed with Sophie, it doesn't need to put a comma, then say on Friday. So, I stayed with Sophie on Friday without comma, put a full stop. But if you decided to put the time expressions at the end of your sentence, at this time, it is not necessary. It doesn't need to put a comma, right? So now, stay with me because I would like to explain more, okay, with some other examples. So now, dear students, pay attention because I would like to tell you more about past time expressions with these 5 examples. Here, I wrote 5 examples and I'm gonna explain each one for you. So, pay attention. First example, or number 1. I wrote the sentence, we saw a game on TV last night. We saw a game on TV last night. Here I wrote the sentence and I used this time expression which is last night. Last night. Let me tell you something. If here I ask you a question, please tell me the tense for this sentence. It's in which tense? Is it a future sentence or a present or a past sentence? At this time, you can recognize the tense of any sentence that you have with the time expressions. You must focus on the time expressions, okay? Because the time expressions, they can tell you, they're like a symbol, they're like a clue or an evidence. They will tell you the sentence it's in which tense is about past, present, or future. If you couldn't recognize with the verb, here we have this verb see, and the present or present form is we have so, and present form is see. So see will be so. Okay, it's the past form. We saw a game on the TV, so it can tell us that this sentence is about past time. We talked about past action. We talked about past event, something like that. And also last night, it's one of the time expression that you can use it in past time. It can tell you this sentence, it's about past time, right? One more information. As I mentioned before, because we put it last night at the end of the sentence, so it's not necessary to put a comma. Look here, I didn't put any comma. So I said last night and I put it a full stop because it's an affirmative sentence. It's not a question sentence. Is it clear? Now, let us move to number 2 or example 2. Yesterday, there was a straw in the glass. Yesterday, there was a straw in the glass. So, I used yesterday, right? Do you see? We have there was. Okay, it's an affirmative form. It's an affirmative sentence. And I said, sorry, Yesterday there was a straw in the glass. I used yesterday at the beginning. That's why I put it a comma after it. You see this comma? Because I decided to put yesterday. So, writing, you have to add this comma. But if I change the position, if I say there was a straw in the glass yesterday, so it doesn't need to bring a comma with yesterday to put it at the end of the sentence. You have to bring yesterday alone and kick out this comma if you want to bring yesterday and put it at the end of the sentence. Look at the differences between these two sentences. Last night, it comes at the end, so we didn't put a comma, but we put it yesterday at the beginning of the sentence. That's why you put it comma. Is it clear? Example 3. I played with my uncle last night. If I remove the time expression, if I remove last night and if I put a full stop at the end, and then I would like to ask about this sentence. Is it in a future? Is it about present or about past? It's about past. Why? Because we have this regular verb and we change it to past from present to past and we added ed. So we have two groups of verbs. We have regular and irregular verbs. So the regular verbs, how can you change them from present to past? You can add ed, right? So I played, it means previously, in the past I played. I played with my uncle last week. Okay, last week. So last week, it's the time expression, right? And because we put it at the end, so we didn't put a comma. But if you bring and if you want to add it at the beginning, at this time you have to say last week, comma, I played with my uncle. So, is it clear? Now, number 4. She helped her mom yesterday morning. She helped her mom yesterday morning. So help is the present, but help will be past because we added ed, and help also is one of the regular verbs. Yesterday morning, the time expression. If I ask you underline the time expressions like me, you have to underline yesterday morning, right? Because we put it at the end, so no, it doesn't need to put a comma. If we put a comma, it will be false. Number 5 and last one. On Thursday, I cleaned my room. Okay, on Thursday, I cleaned. Clean, it's a present verb. Cleaned, if you add ed, it will be past form and also is one of the regular. But so it was irregular verbs. That's why it means the shape of the verb will change totally. See, so they're not like each other and we didn't add ed. We changed the verb, the shape of the verb. So that's why it's irregular. But cleaned, it's regular because we add ed. With ed, we could change it to past form. So I cleaned my room. On Thursday, look, I used on because we have Thursday, and Thursday is one of the days of the week. If you remember, we talked about this, days of the week and months. When you write down in the sentence, if it's in the beginning or at the end or in the middle, anyway, you have to write down the first letter in a capital way. So the first letter should be capital letter. So on Thursday, because we put it at the beginning, so we should add this comma, right? On Thursday, I cleaned my room. But if you change the position, if you want to bring it at the end, put it at the end, at this time, it doesn't need to bring a comma. On Thursday, please come alone, comma, goodbye, kicked out. Okay? At this time. Let me read the sentence again for you. We saw a game on TV last night. Yesterday, there was a straw in the glass. I played with my uncle last week. She helped her mom yesterday morning. On Thursday, I cleaned my room. Okay? And that's it. Lovely students, pay attention. We want to practice more about past time expressions. We have one more slide, or you can say it's like a quick quiz. Okay, here I wrote 3 sentences, and in each sentence I used one of the time or past time expressions. Okay, if I ask you a question here, if I say just write down T or F next to each sentence, it means write down true or false. Okay, if you look, I wrote F next to each of these sentences. Okay, it means that these three sentences, they are false. But now, let me explain why. First sentence, I wrote, there weren't any fruit in the fridge. Fruit, it's a plural noun, right? Fruit, it's a plural noun. So, like the word people. There weren't any fruit in the fridge the last week. Do you remember on the book? Okay, I told you we have two important knots. So, this is one of them. Never ever. You can't say the last week. So, because I put this or I put this, the, before last week, this sentence will be false. So, it is false because it doesn't need to say the last week. You have to remove that, okay? And you have to say in this way, remove it, erase it. There weren't any fruit in the fridge. At this time, in the fridge, last week, at this time, it will be right. But if you say the last week, it will be false. With last week, last month, last year, we can't. Okay? It's not necessary to put the. Number 2. Also, it's false. But let's see why. Why is it false? Who can guess it? Come on, raise your hands. But I can't see you. I'm sorry. You know? So, yesterday night, I bought a new scarf. And actually, I would like scarves. And it's my favorite cloth during winter. You can use it. Yesterday night, what are the false with this? Yesterday night, there's a comma. I think it's not false. Are you agree with me, students? Nope, it is false. Because I told you, we can't say yesterday night. We can say yesterday morning, yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening, but never ever we can say yesterday night. So instead of that, you have to say last night. So because I wrote yesterday, so this sentence also will be false. If I ask you correct it, you can correct it in this way. You can avoid, you can skip yesterday and put last night. It will be right at this time. Or you can avoid night and it will be yesterday I bought a new scarf. At this time it will be correct. 3. Last example. They are cooking last month. Last month. This is one of the time expression and you can use it in past time. What are the false with this sentence? I think it's not false. Are you agree? Nope, it's false. You know why? Who knows? Let me see who is clever and who knows why this sentence is totally false, is wrong. Okay, it doesn't make a sense. Why? They are cooking because we have ing on this verb and we have this verb to be, which is about present time. They are cooking. This sentence is about present. It means they are cooking right now. How can we use past time expression with present sentence? Okay? You have to correct the sentence. You can say they, you can change the time expression, bring a time expression which is, you can use it with the present sentences. You can say they are cooking right now, they are cooking now, or you can change this sentence. You can say they cooked last month. So are and ing ka avoid the kain lading, verb ka akain ba past, it will be they cooked. Okay? They cooked last month. Is it clear? So now, let us go back to the grammar book because there we have some exercises. I would like to tell you how can you do these exercises. Let's go. Joanna Kanem. On the grammar book, which is page 57, okay, 57, we have these 2 exercises. You must to do them. They will be your homework. This exercise says, last week was help your neighbor week. Neighbor, it means drausa. Look at Charles' busy diary. I told you what it means, diary. Today is Friday. Are these sentences true or false? Write T or F. It means that here we have this table. We have 3 times morning, afternoon, and evening. We have these for or 5 days of the week. Okay, You have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Okay? In each date, okay, we have an action. Something happens. Okay? So you have to work on this table, then come down and read these sentences. Okay? You must write down if the sentence true or false. T or F. Next exercise. Look at Charlie's diary in exercise 4. It means you have to go back to exercise 4 again and work on this exercise again. Complete the sentences using past time expression. We talked about past time expressions, right? So it means that you must fill these blanks, these spaces, with one of the past time expressions. But you must work on the exercise or on the exercise 4 again. So that's all about our lesson for today. I mean that we finished unit 11 on the grammar book. Okay? Only on the grammar book we finished unit 11. So stay safe at home and please listen to your parents and study your lessons and please do your homeworks. Goodbye.